Well, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you here in person. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. And all of you watching on the Kings streaming platforms, we're very happy to have you with us. It's been an outstanding season for the Kings, 99 points, third in the Pacific Division, and going into the playoffs against Edmonton, and as far as we know, it will start in Edmonton on Monday night. We're here to announce, I guess, the worst kept secret in the National Hockey League in Southern California, that Dustin Brown has decided he will play in the playoffs, and then that will be the end of an outstanding 18-year career. Joining us on the dais today, the Brown family. Dustin Brown spent his entire 18-year career wearing a Kings uniform. That's amazing. Great longevity. Congratulations, Brownie. His wife, Nicole, my wife and I met them when there wasn't quite as big a family when we met them. Just the two of them. And the children, Jake, Mason, Cooper, and Mackenzie. Also joining us today, sitting here in the front row, the CEO of AEG, Dan Beckerman, Kings President and Hockey Hall of Famer Luc Robitaille, Kings Vice President and General Manager and Hockey Hall of Famer Rob Blake, and Kings Head Coach Todd McClellan. Behind us in their black hoodies with the name Brown and the number 23 on the back, all of Brownie's current Kings teammates. And also with us today, various members of the Kings alumni and the organizational staff and the Kings broadcasters. Well, this is a day of mixed emotions, to say the least. Dustin announced his decision to retire at the conclusion of the playoffs, which we hope will be in late June. So there's some more games to play, Dustin, so don't get ready to retire yet. We were all thrilled with this career that he had for 18 seasons. The most games played in a career by anybody in Kings history. 1,296 games played. And again, all wearing a Kings uniform. We were all thrilled to see him play on the ice, to see his physical play, and to see his leadership in the dressing room and on the ice, captaining the Kings for 8 years and leading them to 2 Stanley Cups. It was a very nice gesture last night for Anze Kopitar to tell Brownie, you wear the C tonight in your final regular season game. These playoffs will be the 8th playoffs in Brownie's career. He has represented the Kings with distinction as a player for the United States in 2 Olympics, 2010, 2014, as an alternate captain, took a silver medal in 2014, and in 4 World Championships. At this time, I want to introduce Mason Brown to say a few words and introducing a person he knows very well. Mason.
To everybody here, this guy right here is known for being many things. Mainly the first LA King that lifted the cup not once, but twice here in LA. He's played the most games, had the most hits, and accomplished more than most could dream of in his 18 years in LA. But to my brothers and sister, he's just dad. Now that he's retiring, we're looking forward to all the fun things that we're going to have him around for. He'll be home for every birthday, every holiday, and every hockey game we play in. Want to coach? Now, it's not all good news for us kids. We get away with a lot, probably too much when he's on the road, and we don't really want to share our Xboxes and PlayStations, so that will be an adjustment for us all. But in all seriousness, aside from having to share our toys with him now, we're so excited to have him around all the time. Dad, we're so proud of you and everything you've accomplished. You've been a great leader and role model for us all, and we love you. Now let's go win the cup.
I guess I would like to start by thanking a few people, but after 18 years, I've realized there are too many to name, let alone count. So thank you to the entire LA Kings organization, and to anybody and everybody I've crossed paths with through the years. Thank you for your help, your support, and love. Some of you helped me more than you know, so thank you. This decision was a very emotional one for me, but I know it was the right one. I arrived here in LA in 2003 just a kid with a dream. Also a kid who didn't really know a damn thing. Hell, I paid for parking for my first 2 games at Staples. But I was lucky enough to come into a team, albeit not a very good one, but one that had individuals that knew what it meant to be a king. The likes of Matty Nordstrom, Ian LaPerriere. These guys were my first teachers in how to play the game hard. They gave me a place to start. That was the beginning, the initial stages of this path that has led me to today. On that path, I've been to the top 2 times with a special group of players. We took what it meant to be a king to new levels, a new standard. The path is not always easy, but I've tried my best to embody what I think it means to be a king. And as my time has been winding down, it has been my greatest pleasure to share that it's been my greatest pleasure to share that with the next generation. What's exciting about the closing chapter of my story as a player is that I get to share the experience of playoffs with this group here behind me. Wherever the coming weeks take us, I can end my career playing in games that matter. I can walk away knowing I did my best, and that Kings are in a better spot than when I first arrived. There is still work to be done, and that will be our focus after. There is still work to be done, and after today, that will be our focus. But for me, it's time to pass the torch. In closing, I'd like to acknowledge my family, Jake, Cooper, Mason, Mackenzie. I love you all. And to Nicole, you're my everything. None of this would be possible without you. Thank you.
At this time, we'll take some questions from the media. Whoever have questions for Dustin? Yeah, Jim Brown. Jim Hill. I've got Brown on my mind, see?
I wouldn't mind being Jim Brown, that's for sure. First of all, Dustin, from all of us in the media, thank you for everything that you have done, not only on the ice, but off the ice, and educating us about your great sport. I'd like for you to talk about how emotional a day this is for you, especially when you have your son and your family here and everyone here, and what Mason was talking about. And you know what? You have all of us with some tears in our eyes right now.
It's been an emotional week, really, for me. Yesterday probably being the hardest. Speaking to my teammates, letting them know. But there's a lot that goes into a decision like this. I didn't take it lightly. I've been thinking about it for months, probably, at this point. But I just felt like it was time for me to move on. And part of that is these 4 kids and my wife. They've sacrificed. And I think it's just time for me to be there for them.
Yeah, Helene.
Hi, Dustin. When I talked to you last week, you indicated that you were going to take some time to think about this. Did something happen in between, or had you really made up your mind at that point and just didn't want to say it?
I mean, it was not officially made up in my mind. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't know what day it was, but it was, as we were winding down, it was kind of complicated for me because I didn't want to be a distraction while we were trying to get points. I can't remember what day I talked to you, but like I said, I've been thinking about it for months, but when it just came to me, like kind of how I thought it would be. It was, you're ready when you're ready.
Yeah, Jesse.
Were you able to appreciate the final home game of the season as potentially the last regular season home game of your career?
Yeah, I mean, play a lot of games at Staples or Crypto, I guess. It's probably a little easier just knowing that I was pretty confident at that point we were going to be playing more games. So the last few days have been really emotional, but I still got work to do. So it's a tricky balance the last few days for me.
Hey, Dustin, what was your reaction when you saw the C on your jersey last night?
I mean, it just meant a lot. Me and Kopi have been through a lot together, so that was just essentially just a class act by him. Yeah, it just warms my heart, I guess, when you have a teammate like that that's been with you.
Brownie, how special was the moment last night that you were able to share with your teammates after the game on the ice? You know, the hugs, the handshakes, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, it was really special for me. The whole day was a really tough day, especially the morning. I mean, that's what everyone gets to see is that part, and that is special. But if I'm being frank, it was the morning where there is no cameras, there is no fans. I guess that's the part I'll cherish the most.
Question.
Yeah.
Brownie, what was the reaction like from your family? Maybe Mason could chime in here too. How did you break the news and what was the response like?
I mean, this has probably been an ongoing discussion for our family for a few months, just essentially asking, what do you guys think about this? I think the first time I broke down was after softball. We took Kenny to a softball game and we asked her and she's like, what do you feel? And she's like, I want you to keep playing. So I started crying in the car. But I guess I'll share a different story is, this was maybe a couple months, maybe a month or so ago, right before a big road trip. So I'm not sure exactly when, but we were putting Mason to bed, and he didn't know I was in the room. He was in like the bathroom or something, and he kind of asked, like, Mom, like, when's Dad leave for his road trip? And I was like, he leaves tomorrow, bud. And he didn't know I was in the room around the corner. He's like, that fucking sucks. So that's the other side of it. And that made me cry too.
He looks young enough to play. Could Rob and Todd kind of talk him out of this or not? Anybody else? Yes, go ahead.
Brownie, thank you for all the memories. Was this turning point somewhat plotted along the way, age-wise, or was it just the body and the grind just being too much at this point, in addition to being available for your family?
I don't think it's really one thing or the other. I'm still feeling pretty good physically. Mentally, there's days that are just really hard. But there's, like I said, there's a lot of factors, especially outside of the rink, that have weighed on me. Just essentially my family is really important. And I've had a lot of fun here, a long time, but there comes a time when it's time to move on. And I can't really point to one reason or the other. It's probably an accumulation of many reasons, and partly I'm proud of what I've accomplished, and I can walk away with my head held high.
You referenced your teammates and members of the organization. You shared a moment with Ryan Getzlaff on the ice after the last Kings-Ducks game. Have you heard from opponents or other players in the last 24 hours?
I've had a lot of texts from past teammates. Obviously, what the Canucks did last night was beyond what I would have expected, especially considering our history. So that has been an emotional part of it. And I've tried to reach out to all the people, all the players that I've played with over the years. It's been a very, I guess, a very rewarding few days to connect with everybody once more.
John?
Brownie, thanks again for everything, as was already mentioned, but you've talked a little bit about talking with Anjay on this trip. I imagine you shared some thoughts with Quickie as well, but Drew wasn't on the trip, so maybe could you talk a little bit about how you broke the news to him over the phone, or what that was like?
I broke it to them all together. It was kind of a bit rushed in a way, just because of the dynamics of what we were going through as a team. But thankfully with those three guys, it's not a big thing. I mean, it's a big thing, but it doesn't have to be a big thing between us. That's just how we've always been. I know Dewey couldn't make it up to there yesterday, but I roomed with him for 5 years, so I've spent enough time with him.
Brownie, over here. A story was told to us the year that you were named captain, that you addressed a group of prospects, and that was the decision for the front office staff to say, Dustin Brown is our next captain. Could you share any of what you think? I know it's a while ago now, but what you told those kids?
I don't really remember what I said, but if I had to say it again today, or I was in that situation again today, there's a spirit or a energy to a team. When you come to the rink, we all bring the outside world to the rink. So essentially what I probably would have said is being a good teammate is there's that ball energy. Are you taking energy out of it, or are you putting energy into it? Ask yourself that question every day. If you're adding energy to the ball, you're doing the right thing. I've had many days when I've been taking energy out of the ball, and those are learning lessons for me that I've had to learn the hard way. That's how I think about like a team, and how a good team becomes a great team. Is if you have everyone adding energy and no one taking away, then we go to great heights. But that's probably the best way to explain what I would say to prospects today. Is add energy to the team. Try to limit the days that you take it away. We all have days, but try to limit those days as much as you can.
Brownie, I think I heard Jared Stoll and Jim Fox mention last night, you were kind of a quiet leader in the room sometimes, but you played loud on the ice. And all the fans could see that. There were thousands of fans cheering the thundering hits you made, the goals you scored. Were you kind of a different person in the locker room? Somebody said you were a pretty funny guy at times in the locker room. Maybe some of us didn't see that outside of that room.
I guess it really depends on who you ask, Bob, because if you ask some of my earlier teammates, they probably said, I don't know if he said 3 words all year. But as I got a little bit more comfortable in my own skin, came out of my shell a little bit, there were moments where I made progress, I guess. It's just one of those things where you kind of get to a point, and probably my teammates behind me probably think no more of the funny side, because I've learned to laugh at myself a lot more as I've gotten older. Maybe took myself a little bit too serious in the beginning, but sometimes you got to learn those lessons the hard way. I kind of meandered there, Bob. I'm not really sure what you even asked me.
Don't test my memory either. I can't remember. But it was a good answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, Helly.
I'm just wondering, what's next for you, short term and long term, or have you even had time to figure that out?
Short term is Edmonton Monday night. Long term, I'll get to that when I get to it. I'm not really, this is the strange thing about announcing something before it's happened. Just trying to stay focused on the job at hand. I have plenty of time to figure out the rest when it's done.
Hi, Dustin. First off, thanks for being a joy to watch and a pleasure to cover for all these years. You touched a little bit on Vancouver, but I wanted to see, you certainly have history in a lot of Western Conference cities. I wanted to see, did you have a favorite rivalry or series during your career? And maybe any preference for the jersey number retirement as far as an opponent along those same lines?
I mean, I played full seasons against some of these teams, so it's really hard to pick one. But I guess my most defining moments would have probably been against Vancouver. Just the way it unfolded, I guess, for all of us that very first time. But I'm hoping we can play at Rexall Place because I really like that barn. But I'm not sure that's going to be arranged for the playoffs. But I don't know, it's been fun playing against them all, really.
Jim.
Yeah, I've got another one, Dustin. Knowing how great a teammate you are and going into the playoffs, you know that a lot of your teammates, maybe all of them, will be talking about, let's win it for him, let's win it for him. But knowing your philosophy of we, not me, what will you tell your teammates about going into the playoffs and not necessarily trying to do it for you?
Well, I would tell them that they are playing for me, but they are playing not only for me, but for the guy next to them. And that's, I guess I'm just a guy next to them. That's the way I've always looked at it, is we all have our different roles. We all have different attributes that we can bring. And yeah, this might be my last run, but you don't play for one person, you just play for the group. That's how we won 2 championships here. Look around, there wasn't one guy that we rallied behind. It was, let's rally around all of us. And that's what it's about this time of year, I think.
Dustin, you were the first Kings player, captain, ever to lift the Stanley Cup. That meant so much to not only your teammates and you and your family, but to Kings fans everywhere. Do you still think about that? And growing up, did you dream of someday holding that Stanley Cup? And what was it like when it actually happened and you had a chance to lift the cup?
I think it's every kid's dream to do that, to lift the cup up over your head. I can't put into words how it feels, but I have been here in LA for a long time, and I can't even count how many times I've met someone and they said, I've been a Kings fan for 35 years, or just very sentimental, heartfelt stories about Kings fans and what that moment meant to them. I know what it meant to me. I know what it meant to that group. But as a player, I think you lose track of what it means sometimes to especially that very first one. That's the difference, right? Like the very first one for a fan base is immense. I mean, stories of people watching their game with their grandfather that passed away, stuff like that, that just time and again over the years, just thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was just glad to be a small part of teams that could, I guess, bring that to all the Kings fans.
This question is actually for Nicole. I'm curious what it's been like to grow not only with Dustin, but as a family with all your children, and to see him and the role you've all played in this community, with this organization, with the fans over the years.
I think we talk about a lot how lucky we've been to raise our family here, to grow up here, all of our kids were born here. This is home. We're also very aware that this is not normal. Our kids have no idea what it's like to be traded, to have to move mid-season or during the summer. We've been really lucky with the whole Kings organization for 18 years. They've always supported our family. Even in the tough times, we fought like family, but we also love like family. And this will always be our home. Our plan is to stay here. Our kids don't know any different. And the fans have been amazing over the years. I mean, I remember going to a lot of events and so many people just coming up to say hi, following our kids' lives, following our life, and it's been really great.
Nicole, I've been told you are the best hockey player in the family. Do you want to expand on your career and accomplishments, or are we going to be here too long to do that?
So for a really long time, the running joke was that I had won more championships than Dustin had when we were in high school and we were dating. We were both playing in nationals the same year. Dustin got shit kicked in the championship game, but I did not. But now, after 18 years and 2 cups, I think he finally beats me. So I may have to start playing women's adult, get a chance to go back to nationals, because I won 2 and he's won 2. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, it wouldn't be bad to have another Brown still on the ice, you know. Maybe some of these youngsters are going to be on there someday, too. They're all playing now.
We'll let Jake take it right now.
Okay. Anybody else with a question? If not, we're going to allow you to do some interviews with them. But we thank all of you for being here today. Brownie, thank you for a great, great career and loyalty to the Kings. And we wish you all the best. Thank all of you for coming out today. Thank you. And go, Kings, go!